Hello everyone and welcome back to our How to Play Go series. In this final video, we are going to learn how to score the game. Now first things first, we must clarify that we are going to be using the AGA rules count. AGA rules are the American Go Association rules. These are the official rules used in North American tournaments. There are other rule sets that are used as well, such as Ing, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and other types of rules that may exist elsewhere in the world. It is important to use the rules that are used at your local tournaments and make sure you learn those rules and understand those before you actually play. The AGA rules are what we're going to be reviewing in this video. The most similar rule set to the AGA rules is the Japanese rules. However, there are some minor differences. The first thing we need to note is the game is finished when both players declare a pass. Passing means that you are not going to place a stone on the board this turn, and you give the initiative to your opponent. When both players pass, then the game is finished. Now we're going to review our first AGA rule. When you pass, you must pass one dead stone to your opponent. This means when I say I pass, I give my opponent one capture stone. This capture stone will eventually fill up my own territory, like so. We'll get to that step in a second. However, it is important to know this because when you pass a dead stone, your opponent will gain 1 point. This is important because when both players pass, both players will give each other 1 point. However, there is a rule that states white must pass last. The reason for this is because white has komi. Komi is an additional amount of points rewarded to white because black has the advantage going first. Once again, komi is additional points for white since black gets to go first and black will have an advantage. The most common komi is 6.5 points for white. This is an additional 6 points plus a half a point, and the reason we have that half a point is to prevent ties. This means if black was winning by 6 points, white would have komi, and then white would also have the 6 points. However, since the game is tied, white will win the game by half a point since white has that half point extra komi in order to prevent ties. This does not mean a tie game is impossible in Go. It is just very, very unlikely. So, in AGA rules, the komi is actually 7.5. The reason AGA has the 7.5 point komi is because of the passing rule. Let's say that black passes first, and then white passes. Now both players have passed. However, in this case, black has one more stone on the board than his opponent. However, this board is not exactly to scale in the exact number of moves. But in theory, black played first, white played second. However, black passed first and white passed second. This means that black had a slight advantage since he went first and white only had the same number of moves as black. I'm not actually sure if it's the exact same number of moves or if black has one more move than white. However, in the rule set, it states that because black was able to play first, since white didn't get the extra move to make up for that black having that first move, the komi is 7.5 instead of 6.5. Let me clarify this once again. If black passes first and then white passes, the komi is 7.5. However, this is important because if white passes first, let's say white passes first, then black passes, white must pass last, so white passes another dead stone and fills up his own territory. Now white makes up for that extra 1.5 or that extra 1 point in komi. So white still has 7.5 point komi. However, because white passed first, white lost an additional point over black. White lost 2 points, where black only lost 1. So now the komi evens out to 6.5 as it is in other rule sets. I really hope this made sense. If not, go ahead and review this step again with the komi. This is very, very confusing for those who are not used to scoring the game. However, I think this is important for you to understand if you go to play in tournaments, because if you don't understand the passing stone rule and the komi rule, then likely you might make a mistake at the very end of the game and potentially lose a close game. So please review this as many times as you need, and if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. So once again, the game finishes when both players pass. However, white must pass last. In the AGA rules, when you pass one dead stone to your opponent. And then white has 7.5 points extra than black. So now that we know the passing rule, let's go ahead and take the next step. The next step is removing the dead stones. In this case, there's only one dead stone on the board. Dead stones are stones that are considered dead by both players. In other words, both players agree that this white stone, no matter what, cannot be saved. Therefore, once both players agree, this dead stone is removed from the board and placed in the opponent's territory and reduces his points by 1 point. It does not matter if it's your last liberty in this case. You cannot remove stones or capture stones during this step. Once the passing step is finished, the liberties no longer matter. Only the area that's surrounded by one color will matter. So, after the passing step, it's okay if you have to fill up another liberty because the stones will not be removed or captured after this step. Therefore, take the dead stones that both players agree are dead and place them in the opponent's area. If neither player can agree that the stone is dead or someone disagrees, then that area must be played out. However, let's say that white said, this stone is not dead. Then white must be the one to prove how it's alive. Or you can ask your local judge. A judge, if there is an official judge at a tournament, can for sure declare if something is alive or dead. If the judge says that the area is unfinished, then whoever's turn it is must play and try and deal with the stone first. However, in most cases, the judge will be able to declare if a stone is alive or dead. If not, then the players must play it out until the stone is considered alive or dead by both players. If dispute rises, both players must finish the situation until both players can agree on the result. Otherwise, that stone is considered dead and is removed and placed in the opponent's territory. Now, any other captures that you have captured throughout the game must be filled in your opponent's territory as well. This means that when you captured stones earlier in their game, you were supposed to put those stones to the side, not return them to your opponent. These stones will reduce your opponent's score at this stage. So now dead stones will go inside your opponent's territory. So let's say I had 2 captures for white, and white had 3 captures for black. We fill up the territory in a way that we make it easy to count. So in this case, probably I would want to put them somewhere easier, like for example, on the edge. Now, once all the dead stones are in your opponent's territory, both players count the area that is surrounded by a single color. But let me repeat this because it's very important that you understand the step and repeat the exact wording. The area surrounded by one color is considered territory. This can raise disputes depending on different rule sets because there are certain situations where this rule may be different in different rule sets. AGA rules can be up to 2 points different than another rule set. Some arguments can be made even for 3 points. However, I have not seen an example of this. Therefore, I will only confirm up to 2 points difference depending on the rule set you choose to use. So remember, territory is the area that is surrounded by a single color. Now we can count the points. There are methods for making it easier to count. For example, if I were to remove 2 stones from here and put them in here, I have not changed the score. But in this case, there are 19 points for black. That is because this shape is 10 points minus 1. Here it's the exact same shape. It's 10 points plus 10 points minus 1. Therefore, it's 19 points for black. I wouldn't recommend beginners moving the stones unless you have an experienced player there to help you because it's very easy to change the score of the game unless you know what you are doing. However, at competitions or when you see higher level players play, you will see them move the stones around at the end of the game in order to make a position that is easier to count. Do not be alarmed, it is not changing the actual score. However, they are just making it easy to count while moving stones around. Again, I don't recommend beginners try this until they gain more experience or they have an instructor or teacher or someone stronger than them watch them and teach them how to move the stones without affecting the score. In this case, we're just going to count it like this. Now let's count the score. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus 9. So white has 17 points. But don't forget the komi. The komi's 7.5. So let's add 7 more points. So white has 24 points. But if black has 24 points, then white will win by half a point. Remember, the half a point there is to prevent ties. So in this case, black needs 25 points to win the game. Are you able to count black's score? Try and practice, and pause the video if you need to, and count black's territory. How many points does black actually have? Let's find out. "19 points. So remember, when I moved these two stones, I said there was 19 points. I moved them, but the score did not change. So in this case, it's still 19 points. So white has 24.5 and black has 19 points. Therefore, white would win this game by 5.5 points. So once again, let's go over everything we just did and sum it all up into one final scoring step. So we are using the AGA rules. The game is finished when both players pass, but white must pass last. When you pass your opponent one dead stone, or the equivalent of 1 point, and then when white passes last, white will have the 7.5 komi. So both players pass, white passes last. Now you remove the dead stones, the stones that both players agree are considered dead. Then we fill our opponent's territory with the dead stones. From there, we count the area that is surrounded by one color. That area is considered territory, and then white has the extra 7.5 points of komi in order to make up for black going first. I hope this all made sense to you, and I hope this series will help you and help you understand how to play Go to the fullest extent so that way you can play a full entire Go game and understand what to do in each step. Remember, these are only the rules of Go and has not very much impact on the very deep strategic principles on Go. You will still need much more study and lessons before you can improve and play at a very high level. Go, while the rules are simple to an extent, is a very, very deep game and can take an entire lifetime to master. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this series, and I hope you enjoy playing your Go games. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next series.